Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. In today's video, what I want to do is share some of the top tools that I use within my business, both physical and digital tools, to really operate my business on a day-to-day basis. And so I think it's going to be extremely valuable to you if you are in the commercial real estate brokerage business. Feel free to tune in until the end of the video because you're going to be really excited to learn about the different tools that you can utilize in order to be success within your business. And so before we dive into this video, I would really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now that you've done that, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Again, we have the YouTube channel, so go ahead and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. All right. So some of the top tools that I utilize within my business, and I utilize a lot of tools, but I thought I'd condense it into the top 3 tools that I use on a day-to-day basis in order to operate within my business. And so the first tool that I'd like to share with you is actually the physical tool, which is a measuring tool. It's a laser measuring tool. Essentially what this does is it allows me to perform measurements of spaces within a building. And so I use this on a regular basis when I'm dealing with my buyer clients and also with my seller clients to confirm square footage within a building. And the cool thing about this particular tool is that it has functionality such that it performs the calculations for you. So let's imagine that I'm in a 50,000 square foot warehouse, but I want to confirm exactly what the square footage is. I would just go to the corner of each website, measure each of the sides, and then this tool will perform all the calculations. So it would confirm that the square footage of this particular warehouse is 50,150 square feet, for example. So this is a really, really cool tool to be able to utilize. And this is especially useful in situations where you don't have like a layout for a property and you want to be able to confirm how big, in fact, the space is. This is a super handy dandy tool. And again, on the seller side, if I'm representing a seller and I need to confirm some of the square footage numbers that they're providing me, or maybe they just don't have a layout that they have offhand, I can use this tool in order to confirm all the values so I can market the property appropriately. And so this is a super helpful tool. It's probably about 40 to 50 bucks on Amazon, no more than that. So it is really well worth your money. If you are in the commercial real estate business, I would highly encourage you to have something in your repertoire. All right. So next up is the second tool that I use on a regular basis, and it is actually a digital tool. So this tool right here is called an APOD. It's the Annual Property Operating Data Worksheet. This is provided to members of the CCIM Institute, or the Certified Commercial Investment Member organization. It's a designation that you can receive within the commercial real estate business that teach you about how to analyze commercial real estate property opportunities, whether on the investment side or on the development side. And so this is a tool that they provide to their members to be able to help them approximate what a property value could be and what expected returns could be based on a variety of variables. So as an example here, we're doing a fictional property of 123 Main Street. It's a retail property, 13,000 square feet, multi-tenant retail center. In this case, we're going to say that the purchase price is $1 million. And then some of these numbers we obviously just made up. But again, imagine that the current rents are $108,000. And then you plug in some of the expense approximations, or maybe you have a P&L statement that you can reference while you're plugging these numbers in here. And it'll churn out a net operating income and then also a cash flow before taxes. So you get an idea of what your cash on cash return would be by dividing the cash flow before taxes by whatever the initial investment is. So one of the reasons this tool is extremely powerful is because of the different tabs it has available. So it gives you a really good idea of what the investment opportunity looks like. In this tab, it gives you the cash flows pre and post tax over a 10-year period. So you can see what your cash in pocket's going to be over the course of a 10-year period based on a particular tax bracket that you're in. Next up is your sales tab. This will showcase what the purchase price of a property would be based on different scenarios. So it has it at a 7 cap and an 8 cap and a 9 cap. And then at the end, it'll show you what your sales proceeds will be after tax based on removing capital gains taxes and recapture and potentially some ordinary income taxes as well if for some reason you've held it for less than a year. But in this case, you would have held it longer than a year. Then finally, the tab that again is what a lot of investors look at is the internal rate of return, or IRR tab. And so again, this will provide you projected IRRs pre and post tax based on what your projected sales price is based on a 7 cap, an 8 cap, and a 9 cap. And again, you can modify the cap rates based on what your projections are in the future. If you think that in 10 years, the average cap rates are going to be a 10 cap, for example, then obviously you can modify the worksheet in order to represent that within the worksheet. So it's all based on your assumptions. And this is the assumptions tabs where you can say, okay, what exactly I'm assuming. So vacancy rates, expense escalators, rent escalators, what the cap rates are going to look like in 5, 10. In this case, it's going to be 10 years. And then obviously the tax brackets that you're going to be in and different tax rates. And again, this fluctuates based on what the tax laws are on a year-to-year basis. All right, so that's the second tool that I utilize that I think is extremely helpful. Lastly, what I wanted to share with you is another tool, which is this one, which I think is extremely valuable to me, and I use literally every single day. And this is the commercial MLS, our local commercial MLS here in the Kentucky area, and really Kentuckiana, I should say. KCREA.com is what we utilize, and this is available to all commercial real estate agents within the area to be able to upload their listings and provide insights based on comparable sales and lease rates, et cetera. There's also a client-facing side, meaning that if you're just a person who wants to do some research on the area and you're looking for listings, you can do all the search. You can search on the platform for free. It does allow you to filter down based on property type. So let's say you want to search for retail properties that are for sale, and then that has some size criteria as well. So let's say you want to do 5,000 to 10,000 square feet. And then you could also do something where it says, my sales price not being between 250 and 750,000. So there is some pretty cool functionality that it allows you to do. And as you can see here, it'll provide you with the filtered down properties. And you can see, let's go down here let's go to Louisville. There it is. All right. So you can see here in Louisville, it'll give you all the properties that are available within that price range and that meet those criteria that you've set forth. Now, one of the extreme benefits as a commercial agent that we have as a result of being dues paying members is that we have the ability to search for expired and comparable properties that have sold within a certain time frame. And so this is a functionality that I use on a regular basis to assess whether or not a property that is currently listed is of reasonable price and could be a unique opportunity for my buyers to be able to purchase. And so if we go back to the search tab, let's go back to here. It's taking a little while, but let's say that we want to search for properties along Preston Highway. Oops, let's go reload. Nice. All right. So there's a local highway here in Louisville called Preston Highway. So I'm going to go ahead and do a comparable sales and comparable search for properties that are sold along Preston Highway. And then I will also do it being a retail property that have sold within, a period of time. And we'll do some additional, we'll provide some additional context here. So this closing date functionality is something we have access to as commercial agents. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back to January 1st of 2019. So this means that all the properties that have sold since January of 2019 and forward will show up in the list. Also, we'll say that the price range is going to be between 250 and 750,000. And we're going to go check it out. So as you can see here, there's quite a few properties that have sold within the last, 2 years that fall within this criteria. And I can click into the functionality. I can click into each one. So in this case, let's see. So this property 4313 Preston Highway sold in November 4th of 2020. The asking price was $475, and it ultimately sold for $387,500 essentially, which leaves the total final unit price being $71.07 per square foot. Now, the reason why this is so valuable is because it gives me an idea of what potential properties could go for in that area. So if I'm looking at a similar property that's just down the street, I can see this property and say, okay, this sold, just a year ago. So that's pretty in line with how the market is currently. and it sold for 71 bucks a square foot. Now I can say, okay, based on this, how does this this property compare to the property that I'm looking at? If my property's a slightly better, maybe it's a little bit bigger, better located, then I could say, okay, maybe it's not $71 a square foot. Maybe it's closer to $75 or $80 a square foot. So it helps me get an idea of whether or not this property that I'm looking at is in line with what the market is. So if it's, for example, listed at $250 a square foot, but comparable sales within that area suggest that it should be probably closer to $100 or $110 a square foot, you know, right off the bat that these guys are not serious about selling the property, or, you know, maybe they're just completely out of line with what the market expects within this particular area. So it helps us approximate it pretty well. And so this is why it's such a powerful tool for me to use. And this is why I use it on a regular basis. Obviously, I have a lot more tools that I could potentially share with you guys. I mean, again, this business involves, you know, a lot of different digital and physical tools that we use, but I thought I'd share the top 3 tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. If you guys have any tools that you think are of value and you'd want to share in the comments below, please do so. I'm always looking for new things to be able to incorporate within my business to make it more successful. If you guys are in the market, let's say you're an investor or a business owner that's looking for commercial property here in the Louisville metro area, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at raphael@crescentigroup.com. Along with that, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. This is going to be the last video of the year for the commercial FAQ episodes, and I'm really looking forward to 2022. I think it's going to be a phenomenal year, and we'll see you all next year.